Hey everybody, we got Dr. Christina here with us. How you doing, Dr. Christina?
I'm doing great on this
Good.
Friday evening. It's nice to be here with you.
Yeah, same. So you're an author of a new book. It's the Ultimate Fertility Guide. How's that go? How's that going? You're a fertility doctor or a specialist, right?
Yeah, I'm a holistic fertility doctor actually, and it's been going well. It's like 20 years in the making, and I get asked a lot of questions. I have my own fertility podcast. I see patients every day, and I thought I would just wrap up all of this information and experience into one guide and put it out there.
That's awesome. So, what was the most challenging thing about writing a book? Have you written other books? Is this not the first rodeo for you? Have you done other stuff?
Oh, that is a great question. Writing a book is a horrendous task. It was, oh man, it takes forever. And I think it takes a certain type of person to be able to like sit and concentrate
Sure.
and just bang out that information. So I think it was like really like this sitting on my butt for like hours and hours and just, and like getting to the finish line. And it was years, mind you, by the way. This was not like a couple months, like, turn it around and throw it out there. Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so was this like a pandemic special? Was like, when did you kind of start saying, "Hey, I should write all this stuff down. I've done a lot of cool stuff. I've like good experience. I could really help people." Like, when was that?
Yeah, well, so like my mission is to educate. I run a wellness institute in New York City, and like my sort of like slogan is empowerment through knowledge. And so I just feel like the like holistic or complementary medical realm is very underrepresented. We're very Western medicine centric, which is fine. There's been a lot of amazing advances, but I feel like people are dealing with a lot of health conditions that are not addressed effectively through Western
Sure.
medicine. And so and people just don't know what their options are. So they keep going back to the doctor. They take this medication, they do this procedure, nothing's working. They're actually getting worse. And so I just felt the need to put something out there to be like, hey, Western medicine's great. We're so lucky to have it, but don't neglect the basics. Like, here's how your body works. Here's what you need to eat or avoid to be healthy. Here are some of the things that go wrong, like that start misfiring internally. Here are the various categories of alternative medicine and what they're good for and how you use them. So that kind of thing, just like really getting the information out there on, what the options are, how you use them, how, you yourself can get educated on your body. Obviously, this book is geared towards women and, reproductive health hormones. So how they can get savvy about what's going on in their body and take charge.
That's awesome. I'm in kind of the age range where folks are starting to have children, and I know several of my friends have either reached out to fertility specialists or otherwise. Is there any advice you can give folks? I mean, not to give away your book, right? I'm sure there's a bunch of good advice, good tips.
I mean, it's over 300 pages, so it'd be hard to cover all of that in this session. And I'm an open book. I give away tons of free information all the time because I just feel like it really is great for me. I feel really good sharing the information. Yeah. So happy to divulge as much free information as possible. Tips I would give are to get informed. So when people start reaching out to a fertility doctor, what they're thinking is, okay, good. This is not my responsibility anymore. I'm seeing a fertility doctor now, so I'm going to give the responsibility to them and they're going to get me pregnant. That's literally what people tell me. Like, I'm going to go see the fertility doctor and then science is going to get me pregnant and it's not on me anymore.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, so there's a reason why you're not getting pregnant in the first place. And there are some times where science can help, and there are a lot of times where actually it won't help that much. So to really get informed, to start, working on stuff yourself, like making sure that you're not over exercising, that you're not under exercising, that you're eating right, that you're getting enough rest, that you're not, overly stressed out. Like, attend to the basics first, and then, move on to the fertility doctor. If you've already started with the fertility doctor, ask lots of questions. Ask them about their experience with your case, ask them about the various different options, research those options, ask them what the pros and cons are. So don't just, willy-nilly go and be like, okay, I'm going to do whatever you tell me to, doctor. Like, actually understand what the process is, understand what your role is, understand what you could be doing for yourself to improve the odds of success. Because if you look at the success rates of fertility treatment, you'll see that they're abysmally low. Yeah. And that is what is going to tell you that if this is the time to integrate other things in that are going to up your odds of success.
Sure. That makes a ton of sense. So what kind of sparked your interest in kind of, I guess, Chinese medicine or Eastern medicine? We're not maybe kind of away from the Western stuff. You know what I mean? What kind of sparked that curiosity?
Yeah, I when I was a teenager, I just started having like weird health problems. Like I was really tired all the time. My body ached. I had acne. Like it was, and like doctors were just like, I don't know what's wrong with you. Like they literally, I was like falling asleep in class. My teachers hated me because they just thought I was ignoring them. And I was like, no, I'm just so tired. Like I can't function. Yeah. And so I had these so I had all these crazy health things going on, and no doctor was able to solve them. Nobody guided me on nutrition. I wasn't given any information. So I went for years just like kind of surviving. I could have been, living a better quality life. And then in my late teens, I started seeing a naturopath. I started becoming very interested in Eastern tradition. So I was actually doing martial arts. I got really into Kung Fu and Tai Chi. I was watching a lot of Kung Fu movies where there was like an acupuncturist and herbalist there, and they would do all these cool exercises to bring health. So I was really into all of that, and I started doing acupuncture, and it just it was like magic. It was like my knees would hurt, and I would go to acupuncture, and then my knees wouldn't hurt anymore. And like I would have acne, and I would drink herbs or do acupuncture. Go away. Like it was literally like a magic sauce. So this is like 20 years ago now. I came upon it pretty early, and most people when they go into career, they think about like how to make money and whatever. Back then I was like, oh, this is really cool. I'm just gonna do this. Yeah. I dove in. I studied Chinese medicine. I went to China. I loved being there. I lived in Kung Fu monasteries. I did the whole Kill Bill thing, and
hopefully without the killing of the bill. Yeah.
I found my MA, and I just did all my carried my rocks on my head and whatever. But yeah, I had a great time and saw a lot of amazing work done with the form of medicine that I practice, and I practice it to this day. And I'm very happy that I found it for myself, for my own health, for that of my family, and for all the patients that I serve.
That's awesome. So, where can folks find the book? I guess probably should plug that too. Like, where is it? Everywhere? Is it Amazon? Where's the?
Yeah, right now it's all over the place. It's Target, it's Amazon, it's Walmart. It's for pre-sale. It's actually not fully launched yet. It's it'll be out there soon. But yeah, no, it's available in all of the usual online venues, and to be in bookstores March 21st.
That's awesome. So, are you doing an audiobook? And if so, are you going to be the voice actor for some
I am so about doing an audiobook. I have to confirm that with the publisher, because I basically consume all my books through audio.
Yeah, I'm a big fan. Yeah.
Totally. I don't know. I feel like I may want to hire a narrator or something. People could find my voice annoying. You never know.
I like when the author reads it, though. I appreciate when the author reads their thing.
It's true. I'm very affected by whoever is narrating the book. Like there are some where I'm like, oh God, you're really annoying. And I love this information, but I just can't handle the sound of your voice. And it hurts it. So I'd almost want to interview a bunch of people to pick the exact right person who doesn't have even a tinge of Valley Girl or anything annoying in there, and get them to narrate it. But yeah, that's a good question. I'm so about the audiobook. It hasn't been confirmed yet. I wish it was. I got to sell a bunch of copies of this and convince them, I guess.
I sure hope so. Are you going to, let's think about it, because you have a podcast. Are you going to read excerpts on your podcast? I mean, that could be a way to do kind of piecemeal your audiobook out there if you don't do an audiobook. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's a cool way of doing it for
Yeah,
sure.
like
Yeah.
just like a chapter or a couple of pages at a time type of deal.
Yeah, and you know what? As a podcast producer and having to plan out the content, it's nice to just have that. Okay, well, I know exactly what I'm
Yeah.
pumping out for the next year, basically.
Yeah, here's
Right?
2 years of content. Yeah.
Yeah, totally. So I've actually done a lot of glimpses of the content of my book in my
Sure.
podcast. I talk a lot about nutrition there. It's more like the good thing about a book is that it's all wrapped up in one place, like you've got
Mhm.
that's why it's called the ultimate fertility guidebook, is
Yeah.
because it's like everything there in one handy book, and that's it. Whereas like you scroll through my podcast, or I'm sure yours, and it's like
Yeah.
hundreds of episodes of,
Yeah.
like, okay, I'm going to, take a little here, take a little there, which is amazing because for our highly, attention deficit disorder society, just being able to listen to, like bite-sized audio is nice. It's a nice thing.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
a big fan of just piecemealing it. 8-10 minute things is great. Yeah, go ahead, sorry.
No, it's great. I love the shorty but goodies,
Yeah.
just like get right to the point, get that information out there. But then I know that some people are like, hey, my commute's 30 minutes. Can you
Right.
just
Yeah.
deliver me a
Yeah.
30-minute session?
For sure. For sure.
Yeah.
So you mentioned your podcast, or what's your podcast, and like how's that been going? Do you have 10,000 old episodes that people can kind of binge?
I wouldn't say 10,000. I have a couple hundred. It's called the Fertility in Focus podcast.
Cool.
And it's obviously on the topic of fertility. Like I interview a bunch of experts. We talk about fertility stuff. It goes pretty deep. Launching one next week about COVID and fertility, very controversial topic. So I like to kind of keep it real and push the boundaries of conventional thinking about things, which is fun for me. I'm actually starting another podcast with a patient and dear friend who was the female lead on $1 Million Listing New York. And she's super into wellness, and she went through my method and conceived her kids. So together we're starting a podcast where I'm like the expert and she's, the woman who's lived it. And we just do wellness tips every week. And that's going to be more of like general wellness and how to optimize your game as an entrepreneur type of podcast.
Oh, that's awesome. That should be a lot of fun.
Yeah, apparently I love talking because I just want to pump out more and more.
That's incredible. Yeah. When do you plan on pumping out the first episode with the two of you?
That one, I would say we're aiming for mid-March, which could turn into the beginning of April, but let's hope it's mid-March,
I totally get it. I think of a video, then 6 months later, I was like, oh, were we going to do that? No, eventually. I don't know.
Oh, totally. No, we actually recorded one. It's like all the little things that go into podcast producing, like, getting the photo of the two of us and having that. It's just, it's a to-do. But it's going to be
you're
great.
Both very busy people, right? That's the word. Scheduling is hard when it's multiple people, right? If it's just you can figure out your own schedule, right?
Oh man, yeah. Today I just snuck away from my kids and went to my office and made some notes and pumped out a podcast. It was great. Yeah. I feel like you need like a little bit of quiet space sometimes to really birth some good concepts too.
For sure.
So that it's not just a bunch of blabber, because there are a lot of podcasts that are just fluff. Like people are talking and they're not going anywhere, and it's like a waste, right? Yeah. So I definitely want to deliver like good like content with substance, and generally the reviews on my podcast are like, she gets right to the point. And it's the same thing in my book. I just get right to the point. Like, here's the information, take it, no fluff.
That's awesome. What was it? So the guidebook, now, is it primarily is it all women centric? Is there tips for men then in there, like kind of sprinkled in for fertility for men? Because I know some men do like want to focus on that too, right? I have some friends that are trying to figure that out for themselves.
Oh, well, then you have very evolved male friends because
Wow, they just want a kid. Yeah,
men
yeah.
are generally not very involved at all. So you
Mhm.
used the perfect word when you said sprinkled. Yes, I sprinkle the man stuff in there because it's really important. Actually, it's like two sides of the same, you know, embryo,
Yeah,
the one that makes the baby, and the male side is not focused on at all. Generally,
okay,
fertility doctors are OBGYNs, which are like female reproductive specialists that have done 2 years extra training to become a reproductive endocrinologist, and their focus is on the female reproductive system. And
sure.
most of the science is directed for the female reproductive system. And if there's a problem with the fertility, it must be the woman. Um,
Yeah, I know. It's garbage, right? Yeah.
I
It's
mean,
50-50 for that type of stuff, I imagine, right?
yeah, but they continue to deny it's
Yeah.
50-50, and they actually say like, "Oh, only 10%." 10. They're saying 10% of the quality of an embryo that turns into a baby is attributed to the man. So if there's no pregnancy, if there's a problem getting pregnant, then maybe like it's only 10% men. And then you have others that are saying no, it's at least 30%. And then others that are saying 50. Like, what is it? I'm kind of like, if you're trying for a baby, you're both trying,
Yeah.
both, get on the same page and like do the things, right? Like, guy can't be chugging 600 beers a night and smoking a bunch of pot, destroying his sperm, right? Not fair.
Yeah.
And maybe not going to go anywhere either. Also, what's happening that's really interesting in this day and age is like um the issue, like COVID is hurting sperm a lot.
Oh,
uh
just the virus itself is
the
hurting.
virus itself,
Okay. Okay.
the virus itself is like, it's pretty hard on sperm.
Is that
So
different than like a normal, like other, I don't know, I forget what's the equivalent virus or like flu and stuff hard on sperm too? Like if you have the flu, like, you know what I mean? Like, is it,
it can be, yeah, it
yeah.
can. So anything that spikes a big fever, like
Okay.
for a man, like fever destroys sperm. Basically, anything that cooks your testicles destroys sperm.
I do try
So
to
it's
avoid
like,
that.
so the advice given to men is like, don't put your cell phone in your pocket, don't put your laptop on your lap, don't wear too tight of underwear, don't go in hot tubs, don't go in saunas. Like, basically, don't heat up your boys, right?
Is this specifically around, sorry to interrupt you, is this specifically around the time frame of when to have a child, or is this just a generic, like, just don't do it?
So it's in general, like, you don't really want to do that, but
Yeah.
like, it's more specific to if you want to have functioning sperm that can swim and penetrate an egg, don't do
Sure.
those things. Yeah.
Okay.
And so when you have a viral infection, it kills a lot of sperm and can make them like have like weird shaped heads or tails that can't swim and they can't get to their destination, kind of thing. And so the advice of a lot of urologists is to wait like 3 months, which is a long time for the sperm to regenerate. Yeah. But the thing is with COVID, it's like ultra weird because COVID leaves behind a lot more inflammation for whatever reason for some people.
Yeah.
And seems to attack things at a deeper level. There are certainly other viruses that can do it, but it's just that, since we're in this era, it seems to be kind of dramatic. Yeah.
So does it have a similar impact on the female body? Like, does it impact like eggs or anything like that when it comes to it? Or is it just specifically sperming, the fact that it's a fever and cooking sperm?
No, it does affect women too, but like, it's unclear because with men, it's like you can basically, they have the viral infection and then you can take a look at their sperm a week later and they're like in bad shape, right?
Sure.
But with a female egg, it's not so easy. Like, to check out sperm, like, you produce an ejaculate, you put it under a microscope, there you go, right? With women's physiology, you have to, like, the egg has to grow and then you have to extract the egg. And then it's like still hard to tell once you extract it and look at it, like, does it fertilize or doesn't it? And it's also like the uterine lining that can be affected too. So there's a lot of like implantation failure, like people not getting pregnant and they don't know why.
Yeah.
So definitely there's an impact. There's always going to be an impact from immune related things on fertility. So we're just in a really weird era of that.
Interesting. Oh, it makes me think of like through time, like the people with the the Black Plague, like the whole like how many other like pandemics have like had weird fertility issues through
Oh yeah.
you know what I mean? Like I just thought about that.
Yeah, that's actually a cool thought. I haven't like dove into that, but it'd be interesting to see the research and see if like the population kind
Yeah,
of
like
like
birth defects or like lack of like something like right at like post like Spanish flu or something, you know?
totally like is like did the like rates of reproduction go down? Like did suddenly people stop reproducing as much? And like like were there more defects? Because they are showing that there can be some risk with COVID too. Like for a lot of people, it is just like a flu. Like it comes and it
Yeah.
goes, or it barely does anything, right? And then for some people, it does more.
Yeah, yeah. So it's always curious, like who gets to be put like on an incubator, whatever that inhibited is it the right word? Either
Oh
way, or
yeah.
like or not, right? But
Oh well, that was a whole
yeah,
other thing.
different thing. Yeah, it's a different thing.
Oh, that was like a don't go to the hospital,
Yeah.
or you're gonna die. Yeah, totally. Yeah, like that was like maybe there should have been a different approach. That's a whole other podcast.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Shoot. So I was like, when's a good time to reach out to someone like in your clinic? Is it right when someone's trying to like have a child, or is it like 6 months prior to starting to like the process, or like in the middle of it? You know what I mean? Like when's the right time to reach out to someone like you or in that field?
So I love the people who are like, I'm planning on conceiving in 3 to 6 months, and I just want to get my body my mind into a good place, and I'm coming to you for you to tell me what to do and get me ready. Those people are awesome, and they're going to be pregnant super fast. But there are barely any of those. Like that's not who I see. I see the people who have like had a zillion failures. And like they're coming to me because they've exhausted all options. Their doctor said, oh, just go see Dr. Christina because we don't know what to do with you anymore, kind of thing. So the time to reach out, in my opinion, is when you're starting to think about it and you want to sort of like get your life in order and organize things. But like the day and age that we live in, it's sort of like, oh, okay, cool. It's time to have a baby. Let's check this box. Let's just start trying. Yeah. Nobody's preparing anything. Like they're just kind of like making it literally another thing on their to-do list, and then are bewildered when it doesn't work and like feel really, really thrown off. So I would say, preconception planning is a great idea. That's what you're referring to with like 3 to 6 months out. And in the very least, if that's not on the docket, then, when you reach out to a fertility doctor should also be a good time to reach out to someone in my field to help you along. Because honestly, the amount of women who get pregnant just from doing some acupuncture sessions or changing their diet a little bit, it's a lot. It's a high proportion.
And so the ultimate guide to fertility, it's probably always a good time to buy your book, but like, is it especially good 6 months prior to starting or trying to conceive? Is it the same time frame?
Yeah. I mean, I do say that early in the book. I'm like, if you have this in your hands early on, that's great. But it's sort of like the first section of the book, or like the first couple chapters are body basics. Like, here's how your hormones work. Here's how you like nail the window. Haha. And, and you get this to happen. And then it's sort of like, and if you've been there, done that, and you've been trying, here's the section of the book you focus on, because we're moving on to the next stage. We're going deeper with this.
That's awesome. Mm-hmm. So my last question, I don't want to take up too much of your time on this Friday evening, but have you ever thought about, and maybe you already are, like maybe if it's a kind of a guidebook or a survival guide or like a checklist thing, making it like an app, so like it's almost like if you're like, those like fertility trackers, like if it falls into the category of your book, you make like a calendar, and like these are the different sections you should read, like the tips and stuff. I was just thinking about it while we were talking. Is like, this would be probably a pretty cool like mobile app. You know what I mean? Like
it would be so cool.
Like have a calendar up, and then
Totally. You know what it is? It's like I have all of these things, things that I would love to happen.
Yeah.
And then it's just
I know. I don't think that. Yeah.
Oh, to have so many people under me doing all the things, right? It would be a game changer. But yeah, no. I would love to do that. I think it would be really cool because it would match up with the book really well, and you'd be able to track things.
Yeah.
Like women have a cycle that you track very easily in an app, and some of the things to think about at the different times of month or what you're doing. So I think it would be amazing. I need some really great executors to team up
Yes.
with me so that I
Yeah.
can be like, this is what you got to make, you make it. And I just need to like step back. I need to step back from another huge project because that's what that would be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure. Be just as
Yeah.
well as the book, I would imagine. Do you have any?
It goes like I think and like from what I understand from friends who have done it, because like like in New York it's like tons of innovators and people
Yeah.
doing that stuff, and I think like everywhere, not just here. And the friends I've had that have done it have sort of told me about some of the things that they've run into, and it
Sure.
definitely makes it seem like you have to be ready to take that on.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. For sure. Is there, okay, sorry, I said last question, but I lied. Is there a thing you're doing in the future? Is there another project you're like kind of eyeballing? Like you did this book. Is there another book? Or are you like, hey, I'm gonna take a break, I'm gonna take a breath, and we're gonna kind of focus on your practice and kind of go from there?
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm one of those people that loves, taking on new stuff, even if it's bad for me. I find it inspiring. I love to keep moving forward, and then I just like, I'm like, why did I do that? Why did I do another thing? But so when I finally got the publisher, and that was a whole feat in of itself, and what have you, and was over the editing of staying up all night dealing with that. I was like, nope, one book's good. Don't need to do another book. I'm
Yeah.
done. And then just last week when I got the book in my hands, like the box arrived at my door, and I opened the box and I took out the
That's
book.
fun. Yeah.
I was like, wow, I was like, this feels really good.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm doing another one. And so, I think what I won't do maybe next time is write another ultimate
Yeah.
guide, because the ultimate guide, like it makes it so you're doing a deep dive. Like I wrote a very robust book for my first one. So I might make something a little bit more of a micro topic.
Sure.
I'm going to write one on mood and hormones and just like mood in general, how to manage it with natural methods. I've been seeing a lot of mood issues these days. So
Sure.
that would be a cool one to do. I want to have an online membership so that people can go and chat with each other and get the information off of there. I guess it would be like the app that you're talking about.
Yeah.
Like it's on my list. It's just a matter of getting it done.
Yeah.
I'd like the project of, living in Europe for a little while. That's a good project,
Yeah. Where are we going? What's the thing? Where are you moving? Anywhere?
The Italian or French countryside or Portugal sounds great.
Yeah.
Like I consider that another project, but career-wise for sure. I think I'll take a little bit of a break from writing for just this minute and sitting on my tush and just enjoy my kids and enjoy my clinic, enjoy this book and just relish in this and in just like reaching, the final point of this one. Yeah.
Sure. Now, I keep spiraling, but book signings, are you doing anything like that? Like, are you going to go certain places and kind of do meet and greets and like that, or anything that folks can kind of earmark if they're near you? You know what I mean?
Yeah. So it's not like I don't have anything completely booked yet. I'm waiting for the weather to get nice to have a book release party because I want to do a rooftop thing in New York.
That's fun. Yeah, that's fun.
Yeah. So I'll definitely put that out there. Everyone's invited, including you, Justin.
Oh, thanks.
And so I'm gonna do that. I will be doing signings at various bookstores but dates TBD. I get invited to speak at a variety of wellness events, so I'll be doing those. So there'll be some travel, there'll be some local stuff, lots going on in New York, so there'll definitely be some stuff here, but I'll be doing some bi-coastal visits and yeah, I definitely plan to get out there. The cool thing now is that, we can do so much virtually.
Yeah.
So, I have a lot of, amazing sessions like this planned where I just get to talk with a great person and like have their audience tune in and share a message of empowerment through knowledge for women and some gents.
Yeah, a sprinkling of men. Yeah.
Love it.
Cool. Well, it was wonderful having you, Dr. Christina. Thanks for joining us, and